Wonder Woman is one of the most powerful heroes in the DC universe, and one of her most well-known abilities is her magical lasso of truth. The only problem is, it may not be enough to take down one of the most powerful monsters ever, Godzilla. So can Wonder Woman restrain the beast with her lasso? Let's find out. It's me, and in this video I'm going to break down how Wonder Woman's lasso would fare against Godzilla. As always, if you want to stay updated on all things kaiju, make sure you hit that like button. Now, the Lasso of Truth, or Lasso No. 3, as it's also known, is an extremely powerful weapon for Wonder Woman. It has a variety of different uses, the main ones being that it can compel anyone it comes into contact with to tell the truth. The more evil someone is, the easier it is for the lasso to compel them to tell the truth. But even the greatest villains have a hard time resisting its power. It can also be used as a whip and a conduit to channel Diana's super strength. In fact, when striking someone with it, the pain they feel is amplified by the magic of the lasso. In most cases, Wonder Woman tries to avoid taking a life with the lasso, but if she feels there is no other choice, she won't hesitate. That said, the lasso has a mind of its own and will sometimes force Wonder Woman to do what she feels is right, even if it goes against her morals. On top of all of this, the lasso can also track down specific individuals that Diana is looking for, making it much easier for her to locate them. In regards to the lasso's power to force people to tell the truth, it would likely have no effect on Godzilla. He is, after all, a kaiju, and while he may not be immortal, he is incredibly long-lived. In his very first appearance in 1954, it was revealed that Godzilla had lived for 67 years at that point. Now, exactly how old he is varies depending on the iteration of the character, but suffice it to say that Godzilla has seen a lot over the years. This could mean that the lasso would not have any effect on him because he has simply seen too much. Or it could also mean that the sheer amount of information Godzilla would have to convey would completely overwhelm Wonder Woman. After all, the truth doesn't just refer to lies, it also refers to everything you know. So for Wonder Woman to learn everything Godzilla knows would likely prove to be an overwhelming task. Godzilla himself has gone toe-to-toe with some pretty powerful beings. He's battled the likes of King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan, to name a few, and he's even taken on other kaiju who possess powers similar to Wonder Woman. For example, in the most recent Shin Godzilla film, Godzilla is essentially forced to go up against a kaiju version of himself. This kaiju is known as Godzilla Earth, and while it's not the same as the comics Godzilla, it does give us a good idea of how the real Godzilla would fare against the hero. And spoiler alert, it does not go well for the hero. Godzilla Earth is far more powerful than regular Godzilla. Its size alone dwarfs the real Godzilla. In fact, even a baby version of Godzilla Earth is larger than the real thing. Not only that, but Godzilla Earth also possesses a regenerative ability known as the Immortal Form. With this form, Godzilla Earth can regenerate from almost any wound. In fact, it can even regenerate its entire body as long as its core remains intact. So even if Wonder Woman were able to land a killing blow on Godzilla Earth, it wouldn't even put a dent in its power. So how would she fare against the real Godzilla? Well, let's look at their respective power levels. Godzilla is without a doubt one of the most powerful kaiju to ever exist. He is literally a walking nuclear reactor, and while the specifics of his power vary depending on the iteration, one thing remains constant: he possesses truly godlike power. Even in his most nerve-fed forms, Godzilla is still one of the most powerful creatures to ever exist. His sheer atomic power is enough to level entire cities, and he's even taken on multiple kaiju at once with ease. Wonder Woman, on the other hand, is adept, and while she is indeed incredibly powerful, she isn't on the same level as Godzilla. Her strength is enough to contend with some of the most powerful metahumans in the DC universe. But compared to a kaiju leveling cities, her power seems small by comparison. But Diana does have something Godzilla doesn't seem to have: morals. Throughout Godzilla's history, he has wiped out entire cities and even countries. Wonder Woman, on the other hand, despite being willing to fight and kill villains, tries to avoid doing so whenever possible, and she never intentionally targets civilians. This could be both a help and a hindrance to Wonder Woman. On one hand, she could hold back against Godzilla, which would allow him to get the drop on her. But on the other hand, Godzilla has shown that he isn't opposed to helping humans. In fact, in some iterations of the character, he's actually revered as a godlike figure. If Diana is able to appeal to this side of Godzilla, she may be able to get him to calm down. That said, even if she is able to get him to calm down, it's unlikely that she'd be able to keep him contained for very long. Eventually, Godzilla will likely lash out, and Wonder Woman won't be able to stop him. Now, you might be wondering why I haven't mentioned Wonder Woman's bracelets yet. They are, after all, one of her most well-known abilities. Unfortunately, they aren't going to help her much here. Yes, the bracelets do deflect energy blasts, but they are not indestructible. In fact, they can and have been destroyed before. So even if Wonder Woman were to use her bracelets to try and block Godzilla's atomic breath, it would likely shatter them, leaving Wonder Woman vulnerable to attack. Not only that, but Godzilla has shown an uncanny ability to track down and destroy those who have wronged him. Even if Wonder Woman were to somehow contain him, he would likely break free eventually. And when he does, he'll likely be even more angry than before. So what would it take for Wonder Woman to actually defeat Godzilla? Well, the answer is simple. Take him out with his own abilities. One of the weaknesses of the Godzilla franchise is that kaiju tend to have extremely similar power sets. Most kaiju possess some kind of energy beam, giant claws and great size. Godzilla, in particular, relies heavily on his atomic breath. It's one of his most recognizable traits, and it's also one of his most powerful weapons. However, Godzilla is also vulnerable to this weapon. In fact, in some cases, Godzilla has been known to harm himself by accident with his own atomic breath. If Wonder Woman were to somehow amplify Godzilla's atomic breath and then redirect it towards him, she could potentially kill him. This would require a lot of finesse and skill on Diana's part, but it is theoretically possible. After all, Wonder Woman is known for her incredible accuracy with her bow and arrows, so it is not outside the realm of possibility that she could somehow manage to redirect Godzilla's atomic breath back at him. So what do you think? How do you think the fight would end? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, it's time to bring this video to a close. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.